Chatty the Mad Chatter has been working tirelessly away behind the scenes to decide who will win a place to attend the Mad Chatter's Tea Party. Only those books that have a chatty, the constantly high-achieving tales that transcend excellent reading, will be considered as a potential guest. Deciding who receives a chatty, which is decided in a completely unbiased and scientifically logical and fair way by our very own Mad Chatter and founder of the Tea Party herself, Chatty the Mad Chatter, which has been very much inspired by other videos of book awards that have gone before, such as G from Book Roast and Gem from Gem of Books, and Jess from Me, Myself and I.
If there are a surprisingly high number of epic fantasy and whimsical middle grade, it is purely a coincidence and not a natural bias of the Mad Chatter.
Welcome, chatterers, fellow readers, and books of all shapes and sizes to the annual chat... Oh, yes, 2021 was never filmed. To the first awaited and highly anticipated prestigious tea party that every book wants to be invited to, the Chatties. And for those who rely on audio, please let me explain this brilliant pun. It's spelt CHATT-TEA. Yes, I am proud of that. There are 10 Chatties being awarded tonight. Which 10 books will be going to grace my table for the Mad Chatter's Tea Party? Well, the wait is over. This has been the result of reading from December 2022 to from December 2021 to November 2022. So all the books that I read during December this year, that's 2022, will not be counted as part of the Chatties, but will roll over to the following Chatty Awards. So we have Tweedledee over with our nominees, eagerly anticipating to see who has won the seat for our first category, which is Best Plot. Ooh. Yeah, we can't do graceful scene switches. You're just going to have my hand going across the screen. Just pretend that that's not there. Okay, great. So here is last year's winner, The Light of All That Falls by James Islington, or Islington. We still don't know how you pronounce that name. And they are handing back their Golden Teacup award to see who this year's winner is. We're going to go over to Tweedledee. Thanks, Chatty. Tweedledee here with this year's nominations for Best Plot. We have 2 from Jen Lyon's Chorus of Dragons series, The Memory of Souls and The Discord of Gods. We also have The Lost Metal from Brandon Sanderson, Frostheart, The Rise of the World Eater by Jamie Littler, and Wrath from John Gwynne. So I'm very excited to talk to all of these excited nominees and find out why they deserve Best Plot. So we're going to start at the top with Jen Lyons 2. Memory of Souls. Do you think you've got what it takes to win Best Plot?
Well, of course, I am a fantastic snarkastic book and there were loads of twists and turns between my pages, and I think I stand a very, very good stead of winning Best Plot. Hold on a moment, don't forget me, The Discord of Gods. I am actually the final book in the Chorus of Dragons series and I wrap everything up, so I think it's going to be hard to contend with me.
All very exciting fighting words there between The Discord of Gods, the chaotic, snarkastic, adult epic fantasy. And down here we're going to go over to Wrath by John Gwynne. So Wrath, tell us about your plot. Well, being as I'm the last book in the series, I can't really tell you about the best plot without giving away lots of spoilers. That's true, sorry Wrath, don't want to do any spoilers on here.
But I have to say I end the series very well and pull loads of threads together and all sorts of character arcs, so I think I will definitely be a great contender for this place at the table.
And moving on now to Frostheart 3. This is also a final book. This is the final book in the Frostheart series by Jamie Littler, which is our only middle grade contender here.
Well, I'm just so full of heart, but at the same time, there's a great plot going on in here. I have got prejudice. I've got different parts of the world being torn apart, and can everything be knitted together, or will the whole world be destroyed?
Juicy stuff in there, I think we'll agree. And finally, the most recent book to grace the shelf, The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson.
Cosmere.
I'm sorry?
That's why I'll win. Cosmere.
Okay. Any more to add?
Wayne.
Oh, right, yes. So if you like the character Wayne, you'll like this book. If you don't, you probably won't. But yes, lots of juicy Cosmere bits in there, and again, wrapping up the Mistborn 2 series. Well, I don't know about you, but I can't wait to find out who's going to win Best Plot. Back to you, Chatty. Thank you, Tweedledee. Okay, I'm ready to announce the winner for Best Plot is The Memory of Souls by Jen Lyons. This adult epic fantasy was published in 2020, and it is the third book in the adult epic Chorus of Dragons series. So I'm very happy to give the Best Plot place card at the tea party to The Memory of Souls by Jen Lyons. I love this book so much. This was such a wild ride. I really enjoyed the first two, The Rune of Kings and The Name of All Things. But when I read this one, so many things came together from those two books that was just blew my mind. Like, it was so much fun. Everything you knew about the characters, the kind of ludicrousness, you'd kind of got used to the world by this point. So Jen Lyons could absolutely go to town with this amazing craziness, blend of characters reconnecting, the more magic explored, further plotting, things I wasn't expecting, and it blew my mind and I absolutely loved it. So congratulations, Memory of Souls! The second place at the Mad Chatter's Tea Party is going to the book that was the most atmospheric. And here is last year's winner to give back the trophy. Please welcome Midnight in Everwood by M.A. Kuznia. If you enjoy a nice wintry fantasy, this one's for you. Now let's go back over to Tweedledee and see who the nominees for 2022 are. Thank you, Chatty. So I have with me for most atmospheric Belladonna by Adeline Grace. Forgot the author there. The House with Chicken Legs by Sophie Anderson. The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, and The Library of the Dead by T.L. Hoochu. So let's start again with our only middle grade representation for most atmospheric, The House with Chicken Legs. So do you think you stand a good chance of winning?
Well, yes, I rely on the wonderful Slavic tale of Baba Yaga and all the wonder and mystic of that Nordic time. I am, Slavic, not Nordic. I don't even know my own story. We have a wonderful house with sentience. We have a wonderful protagonist, and I just give off this wonderful, eerie, otherworldly feeling and beauty within my pages.
Ooh. Putting in a good case for yourself there, House with Chicken Legs. The Library of the Dead, which is a YA fantasy with creepy vibes, horror aspects, by T.L. Hoochu. Over to you.
Do I really have time for this? What am I doing?
Sorry.
No, I mean, like, just get on with it. Why are you even bothering to interview me?
Bit of a salty protagonist there.
But there's lots of creepy vibes in the Library of the Dead. Like, I'm really busy. I've got lots of stuff I could be doing. You're just wasting my time. Sorry so much. So there's lots of creepy vibes in the Library of the Dead. Definitely chilled the readers that I knew. And there's a library, obviously. Doesn't get a huge feature, but it definitely gives off a wonderful bookish love within there, as well as being very eerie and spooky. And the wonderful streets of Edinburgh are explored in this kind of dystopia world. Let's move on, shall we? To another YA, maybe this one will want to talk to us, Belladonna. Hello, yes, I'm the YA fantasy, and I have a fantastic gothic feeling throughout all of my pages, with just a touch of humorous whimsy as well, like scones and tea parties. But there is beauty, there is romance, and there is a lot of creepy herbal vibes as well. Sounds lovely. And finally, The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. Well, I will take you on a journey, not one you expect, but one that will drag you through glory and wonder that all book lovers love. Although if you like a straightforward narrative tale, this probably isn't the book for you and you'll get very confused. But if you love a whimsy, I'm the book for you. Fabulous. Well, okay then. Back to you, Chatty.
Thanks, Tweedledee. If Tweedledee gets a bit much, I'm sorry. I didn't practice her. I just did my usual wing it, and that's the voice that popped out. So apologies if she gets a bit squeaky. But anyway, back to the most atmospheric book. The place goes to The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. The Starless Sea was published in 2019 and it is a whimsical adult fantasy. So The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, again, I really loved. I didn't love it instantly. I really was intrigued by the way the book was set up in terms of having a book about books and having little bits of stories and then coming back to what I kind of felt was the main story with the protagonist and having things woven in. But I really started to connect with the story once I'd kind of hit that quarter mark. So I was highly intrigued, but then I fell in love with it once I hit that quarter mark and I loved all of the characters and had a wonderful time in the magical library. It is the most magical library and I absolutely would love to go there. It gets extra whimsy at the end, possibly verging on the almost too much, but I kind of just ate it all up. I love the kitchen. I love the imagery. I love the stories within stories, and it was just such a beautiful love letter to books and book lovers everywhere. The next award goes to the best crafted book. So this is considering the style of the book, the length of the book, how it's laid out, and kind of pulls the whole story together. And we are going to see last year's winner now, which was The Black Flamingo by Dean Atter. Thank you for returning the award there. And let's go back to Tweedledee and see what this year's nominees are.
Thank you, Chatty. So the nominees for the best crafted are House with Chicken Eggs, you're back again. House with Chicken Eggs by Sophie Anderson, back up for another one. The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abby DeRay. Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. And The Emperor's Soul by Brandon Sanderson. So let's start with you, Emperor's Soul. What is it about you that gives you a place in this category, fighting for the seat at this table? Well, I'm a bit confused actually, because I'm a lot smaller than I'm usually tend to be. But I think maybe that was in my favour, that the whole novel was so tightly knit together and the focus on this one character just pulled all of the parts of the plot into place. And we had this wonderful focus on a particular magic system, on two sets of relationships, and just how the change happened within the book. Okay, some very cryptic responses there from that book.
Let's move on to the girl with the louding voice.
So I think the reason that I am here is because my character was really, really good and pulled the story together. It's very much a coming of age story for this character, and that is the point where everything just made the story work, from her journey at the beginning to where she ended up at the end. Lots of things happened, and I think the story is very tightly woven. There we go, we're getting a bit wordy now. Let's see if we can make it a bit quicker with our last two. The House with Chicken Legs. So with the, I've forgotten the voice, hold on. I think it was this. I can't quite remember. We've probably got a different character talking now. There's many in my pages. But I think because of my mythological feeling to myself, the story is pulled tightly together. We again have a coming of age feeling within this, following this character and the journey they go on. And again, it is a very tightly woven story. And finally, The Long Way Down. Well, am I talking about the graphic novel, or am I talking about the poetry, the novel in verse? Oh, well, I think either. I think the general crafting of both is sufficient. Well, obviously, being from a novel in verse, the layout and the style is very important, and I suppose that is the beauty of the book, and you get a lot of the emotions hitting you because of the way the story is pulled together in this way. Yes, the brain fog seems to have slightly descended and unable to completely describe what makes it, but maybe Chatty will be able to help us out once she describes the winner. And I'm not sure what's happened to my voice, but back to you, Chatty.
So the winner for Best Crafted is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds.
Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. The graphic novel was published in 2020. The novel in verse was published in 2017, and it is a YA contemporary.
So the Long Way Down by, no, there's no there, it's just Long Way Down. Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, both versions, the graphic novel and the novel in verse, were just phenomenal with how they pulled the story together. So it tells the story of a boy who sees someone important to him die in a shooting, and it explores his story of revenge as he goes down in this lift to go and confront the killer. And it just is so beautiful how it explores what life is like for him and the people around him, and this constant following of the rules and seeking of revenge, and how it affects lots of people within their lives, and how gun crime just really affects their lives. And it's just so impactful the way it uses words and the position of the words, and where there are pauses and where there aren't pauses, and the layout and the presentation is just absolutely excellent to just really give that extra feeling to this book. It was brilliant. The next seat at the Mad Chatters Tea Party is for the book which was the most hard-hitting. So with that, I'm talking about the emotions involved in it, how impactful it was on me, because I'm the one reading it. And here is last year's winner. This is Beloved by Toni Morrison. Thank you for returning the golden trophy teacup. And we're going to go over to Tweedledee, forgotten the name there, to find out who the nominees are for the 2020 most hard-hitting book.
Thanks, Chatty. Oh, we've got some emotional hard hitters in here tonight. So back again, we have The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abby DeRay. We have Firekeeper's Daughter, which is a YA thriller by Angeline Boulet. We have, unfortunately, I've forgotten who I'm talking to. There we go. Unfortunately, Somebody Give This Heart a Pen, a poetry collection by Sophia Thacker, couldn't be here today because they have an appointment at the library. So we have a stand-in for them, but we are very excited to have them with us. The stand-in, that is, not the actual book. And we also have Quicksand by Nella Larsen, which is, are we calling it a modern classic? Some form of classic. And we have the adult epic fantasy, The Ship of Destiny, by Robin Hobb, which is the third book in the Live Ship Traders, the second series in the realm of the Elderlings. Oh, so many for this category. Well, again, let's go back and talk to you, girl with the louding voice. How are you finding yourself in this category? Well, have you seen my characters and what happens to them? It's really not surprising I'm here. They have a lot to deal with and it's very emotional. And if you do not get affected by it, then you are clearly not a human of any kind of feeling whatsoever. There we go. That's told us, hasn't it? Okay, Ship of Destiny, up to you. Well, I'm here, I think we all know why, because of a particular scene that is very traumatic. This is obviously quite an amusing video, but the topic in these books is very serious. So please check the trigger warnings before you read these books. If you are someone that has trigger warnings, there is definitely an incident in here that has left a lot of people who read this book reeling. And I think it was very important to be seen and discussed and shed light on this particular topic. It's something you see a lot of in this type of genre, but it is never kind of explored in such an emotionally wrenching way as I think it was done in this one. And on that note, we're just going to move on to the next one. So this is Quicksand by Nella Larsen. Well, again, I have had a very traumatic journey and difficulties within my life, and I think that will just affect lots of people very emotionally with the mental health and identity and feelings of belonging and everything that I had to deal with. There we go. This is not such a fun category, is it? I hope you're all going to eat some chocolate and hug your friends after this one. But we do love a good cry in a book, don't we? Okay, Firekeeper's Daughter. So again, there's a lot of difficult topics in this book. There are a lot of things that are really good to be explored and talked about and examined. And again, there are trigger warnings to check with whilst looking at this one. There is death, there is sexual abuse in this, there is drug abuse, there is racism, there is misogyny. So please read carefully. And with all of that in the book, I imagine it does hit you very emotionally and is very impactful. Finally, to Sophia Thurker's poetry collection, Someone Give This Heart a Pen. All of the poems in this book leave you with a huge emotional feeling, and hopefully you will feel impacted by them when you read them. Well, there we go. I hope that's given you a feeling of why we have a hard-hitting category. There's a lot of emotions in here. Let's go back to Chatty.
Well, that was some of the weirdest filming I've ever done. I hope that all of these books are being celebrated for how impactful they are. This was one of the hardest decisions to make whilst selecting the book for the most hard-hitting category. But the winner of this one is upside down, so I can't read it. Let's try that again. The winner is Somebody Give This Heart a Pen by Sophia Thacker. Somebody Give This Heart a Pen poetry collection by Sophia Thacker was published in 2019. So Sophia Thacker's poetry just edged it because all of the poems in that were just so impactful. I had so many favourite ones. There was a few in particular that really just was like buying a window into a soul of her experience, and just her raw emotions off the page. Just, I had to sit and think and then sort of reread it again and read it aloud, and it really just touched me as she explores racism and love and growing up and hopes and dreams and difficulties, fighting for equality. So many things were kind of packed in here, and it was just an incredible collection. Now, the next seats and they're seats, not seat, because I had to break this category down even further, is for the book which had the best character. And I didn't do just an overview because I love characters in all my books. Like it was so hard to pick. So I've highlighted a few of my favourites and I have gone for a few categories. So the first one is my favourite child. So here to show us and hand back the trophy, last year's winner was Ash from Frostheart by Jamie Littler, which is a middle grade whimsical fantasy. And Ash is going to be passing on the trophy to this year's winner. I couldn't pick. I have a dunny from The Girl with the Louding Voice. Sorry, my legs are going, so I'm going to have to kneel down. Dunny from The Girl with the Louding Voice. I spent this whole book not realising I was reading in first person because she was so engaging. I adopted her. She was so wonderful. She was so strong. She had such a desire to live how she wanted to live. She had to go through so much, and the way she saw the world and her opinions on so many things was just an absolute joy to read. So I really, really loved a Dunny. Equally, I loved Onyeka in Onyeka and the Academy of the Sun, and how she got to grips with her magical hair and being part of this sort of like superhero school and finding out who she is and finding out that she can do things and she doesn't just need to sit down in the background and not draw attention to herself. So I really loved both of these characters. So I couldn't decide. They've both won. They've both won one of my favourite child characters for the year 2020. Okay, the next one is, sorry, it's moving my legs again. The next character category is the young adult character. So the book doesn't need to be young adult, but the characters I'm looking at are young adult. And last year's winner is what I kind of set as my standard for amazing protagonist, and that is Vasya from the Winter Night Trilogy, and I've particularly gone for the last book here, The Winter of the Witch, to represent that. Vasya is incredible. Vasya is just the best, and just seeing where she comes from in Bear of a Nightingale to who she becomes in The Winter of the Witch, and how she balances herself and finds her strength and is so true to herself and doesn't allow society to dictate where she should be and what place she should fill, is just inspiring. I wish I was her. So following in the Vasya footsteps, we have 2020's is Prunella from Zencho's Sorcerer to the Crown, which is an adult fantasy. It is Regency meets Fairyland. I'm so sorry, my legs. I'm just going to pause and sort myself out. That's so much better. I found a little chair. I can't crouch for my art. It's killing my legs. So Prunella in Sorcerer to the Crown. Absolutely brilliant. She is hilarious. She does not care what other people think of her. She is a girl of part Indian heritage living in a white Regency racist world. So is automatically thought little of because of her skin colour and her heritage. So she kind of just almost like sticks two middle fingers up to them as like, just screw you, I'm going to do what I want. And she unapologetically makes decisions, goes with it, and tells people what she thinks of them. And she's fantastic, and she's hilarious, and she's tenacious. And there are some kind of calmer moments with her where she knows the stakes, she realises what she has to do, and she goes for it. I haven't quite seen that level of ruthlessness from a protagonist that I adore so much. But it's true to her, it's part of who she is, and it's something that clearly wasn't another option. But she accepts her responsibility, takes it on, and is happy with the decisions she makes. And it's just so funny. I found this so funny. If you enjoy reading Jane Austen, if you enjoy reading Georgette Heyer, and you're not averse to fantasy, I highly recommend reading this and just enjoy Prunella. Just enjoy her so much. The next book I have is the mature character. So last year's contender and winner was Eleanor Oliphant from Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman, which is an adult contemporary. And Eleanor is just such a delight. I just adored her. I just really enjoyed her lack of filter and just completely different way of seeing the world. Yes, there's a lot that's gone on in her past. Yes, her social communications and interactions aren't great, but the way she kind of didn't care what people thought of her and just thought, yeah, well, that's what people think, but I know what's right for me, I found really refreshing. I found her honesty really refreshing. And the way she kind of learns about friendship and things in here was just beautiful. And I just love her. So that was last year's, and the 2022 mature character is going to Night Eyes from Fool's Errand. Night Eyes is wonderful. We love Night Eyes. We are pack. We want to be pack. We want to be pack with Night Eyes. Night Eyes, for those of you who don't know, is a wolf and is able to communicate and kind of have kind of like a link and understanding of what it means to be human, and sort of does live in a human world despite being a wild animal. This is an adult epic fantasy by Robin Hobb. You may have heard me talk about these books before. But Night Eyes is just, in this one we have a mature Night Eyes wolf as opposed to a young cub that we got in Frostheart books. And mature Night Eyes has such wonderful words of wisdom in here, and is such a joy and such a comfort. And I think we all just love Night Eyes. I think if you read this and don't love Night Eyes, there's something wrong with you. Maybe explore that. Maybe you just hate the world. I don't know. But people love Night Eyes. I haven't met anyone who doesn't love Night Eyes. Sorry if you don't love Night Eyes. Don't make me feel bad. But I love Night Eyes. So Night Eyes wins. Night Eyes wins. Best character. Okay, and we move on to the least savoury aspect of this category. The best villain. So, as much as I hate the villains, I love to hate villains. I love to hate villains. And there are some that are just so despicable. Last year, the winner was Like Us from Valor by John Gwynne, which is the second book in the Faithful and the Fallen series. Like Us is appalling. Appalling, appalling, appalling character. The worst. I hate him more than Joffrey. That's how much I think of him. And yeah, Like Us has found some very worthy people this year to pass on this cup to. I didn't think there was going to be anyone I hated more than Like Us. Well, thanks Robin Hobb, you proved me wrong, because 2022 Live Ship Traders. Characters in the Live Ship Traders win best villain this year. If you've read The Ship of Destiny, if you've seen my review of Ship of Destiny, I think that was in August. Yeah, it was. You will know who I refer to. But for those of you who have yet to read Live Ship Traders, you probably know that everyone hates Kyle, right? Everyone hates Kyle. Yeah. Everyone hates Kyle. So there we go, Live Ship Traders. Villains. Villains, villains, villains. So everyone, we're going to take a little break now. So don't go anywhere. Come back to part 2 of the Chatties and see what other rewards are in store for these books. My table is half full for my tea party. We need to get the rest. Cheers!